Hello. This is the Service Hero Show. 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. Today is July the 28th. And here we are the show that tells the inspiring stories of those that are inspiring others. So let's do this. Today we have a nominated service hero that I am so excited to be sharing. Our nomination was actually I was talking to a dear friend of both of ours, Kim O'Neill, and she said, Tamara, have you yet had Keith on? Keith is truly a service hero, and his story needs to be told on your platform. And it was like, no, I haven't. Let's do this. And so, as I contacted him and everything, it was like he was so generous and so wonderful. And he's like, "Yeah, I love the show. I'm always giving the hearts." And I thought, how wonderful that right there in itself is service to others. When you like something, you appreciate it and you share. And here, Keith. And let me introduce this amazing service hero to everyone. His name is not right there. I can't do anything about it. I'm so very sorry. If I could, I would. But I'm going to get it on record. It's cool. It is Keith Leon S. Yes, Keith Leon S. And we're going to be talking about what Keith is doing, how he's doing it, and what makes his story so unique and truly so divine. We're going to talk about that. So I want to recognize those that are starting to show up. First of all, we do have Sherry McQueen. Sherry, one of our senior ambassadors from the nonprofit Chemo Buddies for Life. So glad you're here, Sherry. And oh my goodness, Sherry, you are up to amazing things. Love it. Love it. So as we keep going, Keith, you love your life, it says.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And as I was getting to know you even that much more, and it's interesting. I was looking at pictures and making the connections. Actually, we have been in the same places, and I believe we have seen each other and met each other because you look so familiar. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, no, there is no doubt in my mind that there is this connection, and that's the way sometimes it works. You meet someone and you have a great connection, and then there's time, and then it's like, don't I know you? And so, and I realized where it was once I looked through the pictures, and it was really interesting. For some reason, that picture wasn't supposed to load because I kept trying and I kept trying and I kept trying and it didn't load. But we were in San Diego and at an event, and that is where I met Kim originally, and served with her there, and you were there with many others, and it's an evolutionary group that is
Right.
out there to change the world in ways that are I don't want to go into the whole woo woo thing, but oh my goodness, you talk about amazing people doing incredible things. And that is where we originally were at the same place. And so you are a book writer, you're an author, you're a book publisher,
Mm-hmm.
and you've published many.
Mm-hmm.
You are a speaker. You're an inspirer. You are a musician and singer. What is it that you're not doing?
Right. It's like pick something. Uh, what do I don't do? Well, I even do Windows, so I don't know.
Well, you're a good man to have around in a pinch. Then let's just put it
That's
that
right.
way. So, and you love your life, and that's what we're going to really be talking about for this period of time. And
Mm-hmm.
I really, and when I say inspiring stories of those that are inspiring others, I want to bold that and put it in big, big, big font right now, because your story is truly an inspiring story that I believe is going to inspire many. And let's get, oh, here we go. In fact, Kim O'Neill, so awesome to see you also. And Keith does so many awesome things. Absolutely. And so let's get into it. I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. And usually I just dive in, but I'm curious about a couple things, and then we can then get into like the meat and potatoes of it all. But when I saw this, I'm like, okay, I have to go here, because every morning I'm getting up and I'm saying it's time to move, because right now too many people are being very stationary with the at-home orders. They don't have to get up and go places as much because things are being brought to them, or they've adjusted their life in many different ways. Right. And here you are, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go here and get this figured out, and then we can go on with other things. And I want to say hello to Helene Wilson, one of our ambassadors, actually our first ambassador of the chat, and one of my buddies. Glad you're here. And yes, it is. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. And then you'll see, and this is the fun show, guys. This is the show that we are telling inspiring stories, but we have fun doing it, and so everybody like comes and hangs out for fun. So okay, and here's the other one that I had picked. Okay, so you're up there, you're singing and you're dancing and you're playing your guitar, and you are just got the energy of so much, and then here's this picture over here below me, where obviously there was a change. What happened?
Yeah, well, that first picture you had with the pink shirt on, and the one on the right now, was probably a 310, 54-inch waist, and the actual picture that you showed, that one right there with the pink shirt on, that is the picture that started everything, because I was finally got on the big stage. I'm speaking at Peak Potentials. I'm speaking in front of 1,000 people. I'm fired up. I get home. I'm looking at the photos, and I see that photo. And I say, holy crap, because I didn't really feel like I was that big, but now I saw it, right, in person. And so that got me to step on the scale, which I hadn't been on for a very long time. And I saw 310 pounds. And for me, I always had this saying, like 300 pounds and you're a dead man walking. And I was 10 pounds over that. And that was my affirmation for so many years. So the blood just drained out of my face when I saw 310. And so now I had the information, but I was still like kind of in denial, didn't know what to do with it. And then this amazing man that I met and who was I was coaching in Peak Potentials, his name is Dr. Bob Levine. Dr. Bob, we met him for lunch, and he said to my wife Mara, "Man, you got to say something to Keith. Like, he's going to die. You got to say something to him." And she said, "That's not my job. My job is to love him unconditionally. And so you say something." And so Bob did. Bob laid into me at lunch, asking me questions like, did I enjoy being a father? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, then you better do something, because you're not going to be around much longer to be a father to your children. I mean, he went there. He was in my face. And he just really told me what was up. And all the way driving home, I was like F-bombing that guy. I was like, screw him, and, blah, blah, blah. And then that's when I went home, and then I pulled up the pictures almost to negate what he said, and then I saw that picture where I had the pink shirt on. And so that changed everything, and it just put me on a path to where I started walking around the block, and then I started walking a bigger block, and then I started walking about a mile, and then I was like, that doesn't do anything for me. Then I started jog walking it, and then the next thing I know, I was down on the beach, like doing the interval cardio on the beach in Long Beach, looking at the Queen Mary to my left as I was like sprinting and then walking and sprinting and walking. And so it started a journey of up and down and up and down and up and down. So I take off the weight, put it back on, take off the weight, put it back on, until I finally realized that I had food addiction. I was an addict of certain foods, and I didn't have control over those certain foods. So it might as well have been alcohol or cocaine or something else, right? I could not control myself around certain foods, and so I found a program for that, and did what they told me to do, and that has been the difference between. Before, I would say I was an ex-professional dieter because I could take it off, but I always put it back on. It wasn't until I found this program that I was able to take it off and keep it off. So it's been years now, and just maintaining, and there's teeny little fluctuation, teeny little fluctuation now instead of 100 pounds fluctuation, and really I don't eat the things that I don't have control over. Just like I don't do the drugs I did in high school, that would take me out if I ever do them again. There are certain foods that's the thing. And I used to say, I don't know what the problem is. I only ate one meal a day. Well, the problem was it started when I woke up and it ended when I went to bed.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. And that says a lot right there. And thank you, Keith, for taking care of yourself. I appreciate you for caring for you and your family. Sincerely, Helene. Helene, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
you. And they're saying hello to each other. I love this. I love this. We encourage it, guys. This is the show you can come and just hang with us and have some fun, and share some inspiring words, maybe a few tears or two, laugh a lot. And so now I'm going to ask you, because I'm curious of, this is making a lot of sense. And right now, I will say that on July the 7th, that I started getting up and moving. And it's just like, okay, I was noticing because of sitting so much, I used to go and then come back, go and then come back. And so I didn't really notice the sitting when I was here because I was gone a lot. And, when you're gone at any of these events or whatever, you're
Right.
doing a tremendous amount of walking. And all of a sudden, for that to be stopping, sure, we're touching a lot more people, but we're not getting up like we used to, to then do the moving. And it was like, okay, no more. Time to move. Time is now. Let's just do this today. And started doing that. And we have a lot of others that are doing it too. We're really concentrating on it, and they're going live and they're talking about it. And it's right where you were in the very beginning, where it was, start one block, then maybe start a few more blocks. And then, like you're saying, you're on the beach doing all these things, but then you noticed, and I want to go there a little bit longer, because when you noticed that you were starting to do the fluctuation, and then did you get professional help, or did you just figure it out that you had a food addiction, or you had food addictions to certain types of foods that were just not working for you and possibly working against you?
Well, I had someone that's close to me that I love who asked me if I would take them to an Overeaters Anonymous meeting. Okay, and so I did, and it was so sweet because this person that I took is not that big, right? But they were feeling like they had food addiction, so they wanted to go
Okay.
check it out. And so everybody was coming up to that person saying, "Oh, you're so sweet to come with him, to be with him," right? And this person was like, "Don't get it twisted. He's here for me," And they were like, "Oh, well, sorry." And so I'm at this meeting, supporting this other person, and everything that everybody said in the room, it just like I could take my finger and just go like this. Like everything they said, I was just going, "That's me. That's me. Oh my God, that's me. Oh my God, that's me." And then I looked around, and this was like the biggest room of people I had ever seen. I mean, they were just like dinky, and they were talking about being, massive, and so they had a saying about, find someone who has what you want, and then ask them how they did it. And so I went around to some of them and picked their brain after, and they were all just talking about a food addiction, and most people that are big habit and don't really realize it or don't want to admit it. And then the second thing was that there was this program that could actually not only help me get it off, but to keep it off for life, one day at a time. And so I was like, well, I'll check it out. And their only ask was, check it out for six meetings, and if you like it, keep it. If you don't, it's cool. And so I did that. I went to 6 meetings, and on the 7th one, I was like, I'm in. Like
Yeah.
it was the only time I ever sat in a whole room full of people, and whatever I said, every head was nodding. Every head in the room was going, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, no matter what I said that I thought was unique to me, right? That I was the only freak that had that, right? Every nod would be, every head would be nodding, and I was just like, holy crap, my people, my people. So,
I found them. Oh yes.
yeah,
Okay. And and in fact, my peeps, our peeps, the peeps that show up here and that are my peeps, and we really are. We're concentrating on this right now. We've really been laser focused, and so it's interesting that you're here at this very moment in time. Not at all coincidence. Not at all. And that's the way this works, and I love it. I love it.
right,
And
right.
so before we go on to the next subject and kind of into the meat and potatoes
Yeah.
transition, funny. And this is where I'm actually thinking about the very thing because I know that myself. I feel better when I eat certain foods, and
Yeah.
I feel good. I don't feel good when I eat certain ones. Yet the ones that I don't feel necessarily good from, they're the ones that I quote unquote crave. And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
and do I have a problem? Not really, but could I feel better? Absolutely. And when we have people that are a part of our nonprofit that have been affected by cancer, that throws a whole new element into the mix for health. And so, we're really working on the overall health, and this is what's going to will transfer nicely into the next part of what your story is, and that is our physical body's health is extremely important. And when you have all sorts of things that you need to be doing to heal through a certain period of time, not to define you, but you've got to get through it. You need as much energy and wise choices as possible. And that's why, as I'm hearing you talk about this, and I know some of those that are involved, and I'm thinking, well, being wise about the choices. And I had never thought about food addiction, to be honest with you. I had never ever given it a thought. Never.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, thank you for sharing that. And yes, baby steps on feeling
Yeah.
better. Absolutely. And I love it, Kim. The Peeps crew. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There we are.
I
And
love
proud of it.
Yeah.
So much
Yeah.
getting up early in the morning. And I will say, oh, yay. Just read the spin, got a spin, Jen. Very cool. And we also are encouraging each other, and this will go into the next area, a daily intention. And our daily intention to start it is something concrete, and that is to make our bed. In making our bed, it sets that, it's that first step, baby step, in that, our intention for the day to unlock any of the miracles that will be coming our way. And you're a man that understands miracles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's kind of like your deal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Really.
you could say it's to be an author and it's to be a book publisher, and let's just get that out there. I want people to see this, because you have been involved with a lot of books, a lot. When I went on, I mean, this is just a selection of some, guys. I mean, this you are seriously into the book publishing area. And a lot of it, as I recognize a lot of the authors, many of them I know, many of them I've met. And what came first, the chicken or the egg? Your book, writing your book, or becoming a publisher and then being prompted to write your books?
Well, my wife and I wrote our first book together, The 7 Steps to Successful Relationships. I actually got John Gray to endorse our book about relationships, and he's the #1 selling relationship guru of all time. And
let's just give a shout out, because people will recognize the book.
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Mars and Venus.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Okay,
and
go
I
ahead.
and so I probably had sold 12 copies of that book because I did not know what to do with it yet. I got the endorsement, but I did not have him like mentor me or anything. So the second book that I did, Who Do You Think You Are? Discover the Purpose of Your Life, I interviewed 68 people that I felt were living their purpose. It was so obvious they were doing what they were here to do on this earth. And those people were the best-selling authors of the world, the top speakers in the world, and the top marketers in the world, as well as, you know, movie stars and musicians and all people you would know. But what I did was I identified the people who were the best sellers that I loved and would love to have as mentors and have as friends. And I kept my promise on 3 questions, in and out, 10 minutes, kept that promise. And then I would say, okay, thanks, we're done. And they all said, hey, wait, tell me more about what you're doing. By the time I shared my heart and why I did this project, because I really did want people to discover the purpose of their life. I didn't care about money, any of that, right? I just wanted to make a difference in the world. It was part of my life purpose. By the end, they were like, whatever I can do to help you, let me know. And so what I asked was the top 3 and many more, but I ended up with the top 3 mentors I always wanted in my life. But I asked all of those top authors, marketers, and speakers if they would mentor me, how much would it cost, and when could we start? And every one of them said, Keith, you're a doer. The talkers are 99.9% of the world, and 0.1% are doers.
Yeah.
You're a doer. Doers help doers. So are you still recording? Because I was there to record their answers to put in this book, right? And so I hit record again really quick and said, yes, I am. and so all of the masters, and I'm talking the masters, I won't drop names, but it's a laundry list of the masters.
Right,
Said,
yeah.
here's what you do: A, B, C, D, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And they all gave me all of their knowledge, all of their tips, everything that I needed to do to make that book an international bestseller, and agreed to mail out for me 10 people from The Secret, by the way, that had a list of 100,000 plus, right? So 1.2 million emails went out saying, hey, I'm in this book. Buy the book today for $24.95. You get $8,000 worth of free cool stuff from all of us famous people. And so that was 2 weeks before this book about life purpose came out. Oprah held up the Eckhart Tolle's book about what? Life purpose, and made it the topic of the world. So needless to say, my launch got it right here to number 2 underneath him. And then from then on was, hey, $10 more free shipping, add to cart. You'll probably love this book if you like Eckhart's, add to cart. And so it was just all the difference in the world. But so that's just book sales, right? But what happened was all of those people that mentored me and me just implementing what they taught me changed everything. And I realized that now when I was speaking in front of 1,000 people instead of 20 every time I spoke, right? I would tell this story at the very beginning of my talk. It's called the Earn the Right. And every good speaker does this, you may have noticed. They always start with, this is what happened, but it wasn't always this way. It was this, and then here, blah, 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 and I did this, and then now here's the result. That unfolds people's arms, helps them lean in and actually listen to what you have to say after that. So I would share this story about what I just told you. And even though my talk for 90 minutes, 60 minutes was all about life purpose, people would still come up after and say, hey, aren't you that book guy? Aren't you the book guy? Aren't you the book guy? Aren't you the book guy? And I heard that so many times that I said, I get it, God. And at the time I went and I looked at theycallmethebookguy.com, which was available. And I said, of course it is. Because I knew that until I was Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, Marcy Shimoff, Chris and Janet Atwood, Joe Vitale, John Asraf, till I was those people, it was my responsibility to help people to get their mission and message out to the world. So I had success with my own books, creating bestsellers with those. And I was teaching a program helping people to write their own books. And then finally, two gentlemen both from Australia, strangely enough, both asked me, hey, would you publish my book? And so I went to my wife, and Jack Canfield had been telling me the same thing. So it was like the universe was speaking. So I went to my wife and said, if we were going to publish, what would it look like? And so we basically created a list of things that publishers do that piss us off and that we think is just wrong. And then we said, what is the opposite of that? And then we made a list of what we were going to do and how we were going to be. So we're kind of the anti-publisher, publisher, everything about our publishing program features the author. It favors the author. The author makes the money that the publisher would normally make, and we make with the little sliver that the author would normally make. And so the fact that we're a heart-centered organization, and that makes it so that the people who are for us are attracted to us, and then while we're kind of working with them and then editing their book, it helps us develop a relationship to where they know, like, oh, will you publish my book? And then our team has worked with them, so now we know what they're like to work with, and so then we have a publishing conversation. So that's how it started, and that's my soundbite, quickest way I could share that answer. How I went from Keith Who to the book guy, and a guy with a book he sold 12 copies of, to publishing now. I'm in written 7 books myself. I'm in, I don't even know how many, and then we have published about 90 authors now, and we're very selective. We're not a vanity publisher. We don't just publish someone because they wrote us a check. There's so many people pretending to be publishers. We're a real publisher. It has to be a match, and it has to be we call it books that make a difference. So any of our titles, you may have noticed, you have to feel better when you put it down than when you picked it up, or it's not in our catalog. So
I love it. I love it. And of course, I have to put these up because of friends.
Ken.
Yeah, Ken. And there you are, with the Keep Smiling in the Smile book. And if you've noticed on the bottom here, the Keep Smiling movement, it is on the crawler. So I want to say thank you to Andrea Adams Miller, Ken, and Barry Shore. Yeah, I absolutely love these people. And now, okay, so your most recent book is a true story.
Yes.
And I love the book name, Walking with My Angels. Let's go there. Let's talk about the true story of your book, Walking with My Angels.
There's a lot to that. Let's just say my parents divorced when I was 2, and my mom was manic depressive, more depressive than manic. Right. When she was manic, I was happy because we were actually out doing stuff. When she was depressed, she was in the bed crying her eyes out, like, all the time. Right. Not cooking, not being a parent, not washing clothes, any of that stuff, just crying. So so that left my teenage sister and my grandma to try to raise me, which ultimately had me raising myself a lot. Right. and so at a very young age, I heard a voice, and this voice identified itself as my guardian angel, and I listened to this voice. I chatted with this voice, and the voice would be outside of me, like up in the ceiling, or kind of to my right or in front of me. It would be outside of me, and I think I love to share that I'm sure that was so that I didn't think that I was making it up, or I didn't buy into the imaginary friend story that adults were saying that's what it was, right? Right. So I just had conversations with this guardian angel, and this guardian angel kept me out of harm's many way. It kept me from being molested around the corner from my house, kept me from dying multiple times, would tell me when I was going to go in between a house in a dark space, don't go in there. And sometimes when I was with my friends and they were about to do something really stupid, I would say, I'm not going to do that. And many times they just went, oh, okay, and then we shifted and did something else. So I'm sure that my guardian angel actually kept them out of harm's way as well. So that's childhood. Grew up with this angel, and then when I got into high school, I started partying like a lot of teenagers do, right? And drinking and drugging and having a good time, and hearing my angel voice a lot less because I wasn't focused on that. I would hear the voice when it was like to help me get away from the cops or things, life-saving things, selective hearing. Then I would hear it. But when it was telling me, put down the pipe, not so much. So that's high school, and then so it's really my life story that chronicles all my angel experiences. So my favorite part of the book would be in my early 20s when um, I met a man. First day on a job bartending, and I met this guy, and he was like super quiet, and he hardly said a word, but whenever he did, everybody leaned in and they were listening to him. So I was already intrigued. And then when I said my first words to him, he said something that was really odd, and it kind of even pissed me off. And so it more intrigue. And then it wasn't long before I was like, oh, okay, I realized why he did what he did and said what he said. So very intrigued. Finally, invite this guy to come home and hang out with me after work. He said, I would love that. Hanging out after work now all the time. He's asking me about my belief system by now, which is very little. Still drinking and drugging, right? By the way, and mostly drugging. And so he's asking me about my belief system, and I'm like, what do you think about psychics? Charlatans. If they charge money, they're frauds. Blah. And so he's like, okay, that's interesting. Huh. And so finally, he got to the point where we had been friends long enough that he said, do you trust me? And I said, yeah, I do. And he said, okay. And so I had this ring on. And now this ring was when I was 7 years old, my mom met a man. They fell in love and they were married in like 3 months. And
Oh, yes. I didn't grab that picture, but I saw it.
yeah,
Yeah.
this man was like, to me, the closest to Jesus of anybody I ever met. He would give you the clothes off his back, give you his last penny. They were married. 5 days after the wedding, he was killed. So my mom goes into like the worst tailspin ever. But so all that to say, I had a ring on that my stepfather had died with that ring on. Nobody had ever touched that ring except for the stepfather, mom, who had gave it to me and me. So that's all the energy the ring has in it. It says, do you trust me? Yeah. Can I see that ring? Oh, okay, I guess. Put the ring in his hand, closes his hand. He does was another what's called a life review. There's two different life reviews, but this was one of them. So he tells me everything about the second that I was born to when my stepfather died with that ring on, and I knew he saw it because he went, "Oh God!" and he quaked and he handed me the ring and said, I could have went my whole life without seeing that." And so this was pre-Google. Like there was no way that no social media. There was no way he could know any of this stuff about me. He couldn't have researched me, but he had told me everything to 100% accuracy. And so I started believing him. He continued to predict world events, tell me what my whole next day was going to be like, and things that got me to believe in him more. And then eventually he said again, "Do you trust me?" I love that he always led with that. "Do you trust me?" Yes. So then he said, "Okay, then I need to tell you." "Tell me what?" "Well, how can I put this? I was an etheric angel, so I was energy, I was light. And then I was put into a body, right, that was walking, talking. It's called a walk-in. And so now there are a group of us that are called earthbound angels. And so we're earthbound angel, most people say, is somebody that does a good deed. But he said that's not who we are. Who we are? Yeah, there's a group of us, and we're assigned to certain people, and I've been assigned to you. So we're assigned to certain people because if they died before their predetermined expiration date, that's the words they used. Predetermined expiration, what? Date. Right? Then it would have
Heavenly terms, and
right.
yet that sounds like it's on a milk carton.
Yeah. So he said if you died before your predetermined expiration date, it would have a not so great effect on the planet.
Whoa.
So all the people that we're assigned to are here for a specific reason, and if they died before, then it shifts the whole thing. So I'm here to take you from believing in nothing to believing in everything, so that I can at some point reveal to you your life purpose and then save your life. And once I save your life, you have to let me go, because then I'll be assigned to go do it for someone else. So that's my favorite part of the book. It talks about just a few of the things that he had to do to take me from believing in nothing to believing in everything. What miracles did I have to see? Because he'd show me a miracle on Monday, and by Tuesday I'd be like, nah, no way, right? No way. And so it was an amazing experience, and so I should have literally should have died 8 times already. It was 7 when I wrote the book and 1 since, where I could have died and have seen miracles happen to keep me on this earth. One time, literally saw time reverse in front of my eyes to keep me on the planet. And so, so it is part of that purpose that was revealed to me was to write this book, Walking with My Angels, their title, not mine, right? And that it would be a true story of my life and all the times the angels came into my life. And my purpose in that book is to teach people that I may look special, but I'm not. We all have access to what I have access to, which is inner guidance, God, spirit, universe, angels, whatever you like to call it. Like, it doesn't care what you call it as long as you call it. There's a part of us that knows the answer to every question before we ask it. Right? There's a part of us that knows what to say before we open our mouth to speak. And so what I did from last August to the last day of January was went on a tour doing live events, book signings, and media, and it just was teaching this message, and still continue to teach people how to access that part that can get the answer to any question. I mean, it's totally available, but I call it sit, ask, and listen. That's one of the ways to get the answer. So a lot of us sitting, meditating, a lot of us asking questions. And then when do we really listen long enough to receive the answer? Right?
Oh, that's good.
Right?
That's a big piece of it. Absolutely.
So when we stay in the one question and don't be, like, I'm an entrepreneur. So before I started this ritual, I was shiny object syndrome, right? So I'd ask a question, I'd forget 5 minutes later when something shiny came along. But what I've learned is sit, ask, and then stay in that one question until I receive the answer to the one question. So I teach many, many tools to do that one thing so that you can be in the question, continue to be in the question, tune into your inner guidance system, which the first instinct, always right, but only every time. So if you have a first instinct journal and you name it that first instinct journal, you ask a question ask a question of God, spirit, angels, universe, your inner guide, whatever you want to call it, and the first thing that comes to mind, if you will write that down, that answer that you got, and then you're willing to keep to that no matter the second one that comes in, third, fourth, how many times you tug a war till you don't even know what the first one was. If you'd commit to the first answer that you received, your whole life will change, because your first instinct's right, but only every time. And but it's we go back and forth so many times with the monkey mind that it's hard to forget what the first one was.
Well, I will say this. When I was working professionally as a recruiter, a headhunter, and I would help people with their next, whatever their next career was, and we would be going through debriefing, and it would always be what I would ask them, and it would be always interesting to me. It never seemed to fail, and it just confirms everything you're saying right now. Is I would ask them, so what do you think about this? Like, what is the answer? What is that answer? Because right then, and these were high powered positions usually, and it was that first gut reaction is what I would say, and it would always speak the truth, and it would be like, okay, there you go, and they would verbalize it, and it always was amazing to me to witness this response from someone else. And so now that you're saying this, and it's almost something that many people that understand that gut level feeling is what many will call it, but I love the way you're putting it, and I would never have thought of having a journal for it. However, I am going to today. I have always keep extra journals around. I am going to get one. I'm going to dedicate it just for that today myself. I put the challenge out there to anybody else, because that is a really great idea, because I have seen that light and that aha moment, like, oh, the answer was already there. The answer is here. The answer is within. The answer is coming out. The answer, and like, oh, wow, like miracle stuff. And what you're sharing is that has something to do with the whole connection of what we can ourselves tap into with
Hmm.
getting these answers like you were taught by your earth angel?
Hmm. Yes, yes.
Amazing. Okay, I want to bring this up. There was a question here. Now, is this how it works? Now, Sherry McQueen is saying, Keith, should I do what I have been thinking about doing? So she's coming to you to ask a question like you would be someone to give that answer.
Hmm. Well, if should you be doing what you've been thinking about doing? Thinking is a key word. Uh, what was when you thought about doing it? What was your first instinct? Should do it or shouldn't do it? And whatever your first instinct was, I would stick to that.
There you
Uh,
go.
so hopefully, you haven't gone back and forth so many times you're not sure what that is, right?
I love it. That and there you go. And that keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple and sit, ask, and listen. Thank you, Kristen. And then Helene is saying they're all engaged. You have been blessed to be here for us to hear your story. Thank you. We all
Thank you.
appreciate you, Keith. And you know the let's see. If I listen to my monkey mind, I am still looking for my purple monkey. Oh, this is Helene always has a bit of a, she keeps us on our toes with her humor, and we love it. We love it. She's usually looking for a purple pen, so that's why the joke there.
Okay.
So, okay, so you've been, and oh, now can I just say, I love this image. Uh, and some others, the photo bombing and fun, because
Yeah.
you like to have fun. You get out there and you're having fun, and this subject matter that is so incredibly special. It and and I have my personal feelings, and I'll just say, I believe, and so, just because I've experienced my own stuff, and many of us do, and yet, here you are, you're literally having a blast and having fun. And um life is meant to be fun, right? I mean, we're
Yeah.
supposed to be enjoying
Well,
ourselves.
well, I love I remember when Ken Roshan is a professional photographer who
Oh
shoots at
yeah.
many events, and has a team. If he's not there, his team is there, right? So
Yeah.
he's just the owner of that space and deserves to be, and and so he loves to get people to photobomb. And get pictures of that. So it's like first picture just straight without you in it, and then jump in when they don't know and photobomb. And so at one, I was like shying away from that, and I didn't even want to be photobombed at first. So I went up and I go, "What is the photobomb thing about?" And so Ken looked at me and he goes, "Keith," he goes, "if somebody is like super serious and they won't be silly, I will not do business with them." Because every time that I did business with someone who's serious, it doesn't work out. Now, if someone's willing to have fun, right, have a blast, I know that's someone I need to be with. I need someone to work with. And so the guy on the left there, Dave, he really was the king of the photobomb at CEO Space. He mastered that thing. He was always the king until Keith came along, and I remember Ken saying, "Ooh, rival," right?
Now,
Because
is that Dave Van Hoos?
yeah,
Oh, because I thought so. I'm looking at it and I'm like, that looks like Dave Van Hoos. And
yeah,
yet
yeah.
I'm like, but
And so Ken was just couldn't believe that, like, every time I was bombing that I had a different face every time. He was just like, "How do you have so many faces?" Like, and I was like, "I don't know. I'm channeling it. I'm channeling it."
I love it. I love it.
before
I
before
love it.
yeah, before we run out of time, whenever you want, I'd love to read a quick story from the book.
Oh, absolutely.
Whenever that is.
Yeah, I would love that. In fact, right now, let me take these down and
I love it.
let's bring up the book one more time, the image. I would love to hear that. Why don't we go ahead?
Great. So this is during the time that I spent with this earthbound angel, and he's meeting with me and showing me miracles and spending time with me and teaching me lessons. This is really cool. I got so many lessons, and And many times he would answer all of my questions with a question, which really pissed me off. I just tell me the answer, but he wouldn't do it. This was one of the times where I actually got an answer, and it was so profound that I love to share it with people. And I know Kim has heard this story. One day, John, that's my angel, and I drove out into the middle of nowhere, parked his truck, and then hiked for a little while. Soon we arrived at what looked like a hole in the ground. As had become my habit, I followed John. We went a few steps into the cave, and he reached into his backpack and pulled out a flashlight. Soon there was no light at all, except for the flashlight that John had in his hands. After we were in the cave for about a half an hour, John was about 100 feet in front of me. I needed to catch up since I couldn't see much ahead. I was relying on his flashlight. Suddenly, the light went out, and I learned the meaning of not being able to see my hand in front of my face. That's how dark it was. I called out to John. There was no response. I started to feel this intense anxiety and fear. I started hyperventilating, and I remembered my mother and her claustrophobia, and I always thought she was exaggerating how bad it felt. Now I was experiencing it for myself, and I was able to understand the panic that she went through. Where did John go? Why did the flashlight turn off? And why would he leave me? My heart raced, and I was about to lose it when I heard John's voice say, "Breathe, take a breath, relax, and trust. Don't worry." He told me to sit down on the ground, legs crossed, and he repeated that I should take a nice, deep breath, relax, and trust. I did as instructed. My heartbeat slowed, and the anxiety subsided. I focused on my breathing, and before I knew it, I was calm. When I was relaxed again, the flashlight came back on. John was standing in the exact spot where he had been when the flashlight went off. He had not moved. I could have simply walked 100 feet and I would have bumped into him. But instead, I had freaked out. He explained that this was a metaphor for life. There would be times in my life when I'd become accustomed to walking in the light. And then something would happen, and the light would appear to go dim or to turn off. How I reacted in these situations would determine my ability to survive them. The way I reacted would also determine how much I'd be able to learn from my life experiences. He told me to think of it this way: the light is always 100 feet away. The light never leaves, it only appears to. When this happens in life, you have a choice. You can freak out, get anxious, get depressed, blame the light, point fingers, struggle, and judge. Or you can trust that the light is still there. If you can know in your heart that the light is still there, all you need to do is stay calm and navigate your way forward until you find the light. I'd like to say that after this experience, a door opened and I understood all of this. Alas, it wasn't so. To tell you the truth, when John was talking to me, I was still suffering from the effects of my panic and didn't quite get it. And as I said, he had to repeat things many times, many of his lessons for me before they would sink in. Eventually, I would understand the profundity of his message, but at the moment, I was still mad at him.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I'm so glad you
You're muted.
shared that. And Helena's saying, "Oh my God, what I hear in something only in me, my
I
heart can
can't hear you.
feel."
I think you're muted.
Oh, no, I'm not. Uh-oh. No, can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Uh-oh. Oh no, we've got problems. I don't know why you can't hear me.
I didn't change anything, but I can't.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Is better now?
No.
No? All right.
Can others hear you?
We're gonna do a sound check. Can you guys let me know sound check? Sound check. We're gonna do sound check and see if anybody will. There's a delay, and so we'll see if they'll type and let us know if they can hear me.
Yeah, type in, can you hear me, or can you hear Tamara?
Okay.
You hear
Okay.
Tamara.
She can hear me, but
And
you
you can hear
cannot.
me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Interesting.
And yeah, that is very
Maybe
interesting.
hard to
Okay,
read.
so um,
Pop out and pop back in like I did
yeah, why
before.
don't you do
All
that?
right. This seems to work. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, all right. So in the meantime, I want to just say that um, what an incredible story. Right, guys? Thank you, Kim O'Neill of Every Day is a New Day, for nominating this amazing service hero that has served us all well today. And the story that he just read about his guardian angel that spent time with him. Hopefully, he hears me now. Let's get him in. Okay, can you hear me now?
There we go. And
Oh, good, good, good. Okay, we're good.
yeah.
Well, and when we are talking about, it's not uncommon. I'll tell you, and I was sharing. I almost laugh now. I don't say it much because it's just I take it almost for granted. Is that electronics sometimes have fun when you're
Yeah.
talking about certain things,
Yeah.
and
True.
I'm always dealing with a bit of electronic issues, and yet I wouldn't change a thing because I know that there is so much more to our existence here than many can see, many
Mm.
understand at times, and yet when you see something so obvious as an electronic issue, then it brings it into the physical. And I think, okay, well, then those that want to ask or talk about it, there's a discussion. And those that are just going to laugh it off, that there you go. And so, what you shared right now and the reading that you just did goes along with even that experience we had after. In
Yeah.
that,
Right.
don't ever assume anything. And I would love to know what anybody what they were thinking when they were hearing you read. Kim is saying, absolutely. I knew Keith was an excellent fit to your show. Thank you. Yes, Kim, absolutely, without question. And see what happens when we talk about angels. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. So what, right now, I've been dating these shows, and I used to number them. I'm dating them now because we are in a period of time where there is so much happening.
Hmm.
And with that, I would love to know what your thoughts are and what you could share about the here and now and then going forward, because we have I believe this is an opportunity for us to really tap into what our purposes are, and we've been talking about that as we've been getting up and moving and the exercise and
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
healthier and bringing it all together. What would you say with your life experience and the way that you would be? I mean, we now know you basically have been coached and educated in a very unique way. What
Hmm.
would you like to share about how we can better serve ourselves and then others going forward, right? In this, in what is happening in the world.
Yeah, well, now is the time to do the work play. So, like most people, our inner child never wants to work; it just wants to play. So I call it work play. Now is the time to look for miracles.
Yes.
Now is the time for the inward journey that you always wanted to take but didn't have time to take. Now is the time to see the blessing before it looks like a blessing.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the key things that I've learned over the years is when something happens and it looks like a big steaming pile of what, I'll
Yeah.
look at that and say, I know that's a blessing and I don't know why yet, but here's what I've learned. Everything that seemed like my worst nightmare in my whole life, when I looked at it a year, 2 years later, I always could see the blessing. I go,
Yeah.
oh, that's why that happened. So I don't want to wait a year to see the blessing. And what I found out is when I can look at it and it's, my stomach's in a ranch, and I can just say, you're a blessing. I don't know why yet, but I will see the blessing. And I bring a
Mhm.
focus to seeing the blessing, then I see the blessing sooner. And so now it's just, it really that's just what I keep getting when I'm asking my guides. It's look for the blessing, look for the blessing to share right now is, see the blessings, and if you're not seeing them, create them. You
Oh,
know,
I love that. I love that. Go
and
ahead.
be the blessing for someone else. Reach out to someone you haven't talked to in a long time and say, what can I do for you? You can't outgive God, and you can't be too nice to people. And there's somebody out there right now that's just, they're like hurting, and that first name that comes to your mind when I say that, call that person, and they'll say, oh, I was just thinking about you, or oh my God, I'm so glad you called because dot dot dot, and they'll fill in the blank. So for me, this time has been blessed. I'm an empath, so when it first started, and I was feeling everybody's else's energy, and it just like punched me and knocked me down for a minute because I was just, oh wait, I'm feeling it, the world's energy, and
Yeah.
they're freaking out right now, and so it's just like, ugh. So I had to do what I could to get everybody else's stuff out of me so that I could get back into the work that I'm here to do. And so I've since then I've had an online angel event, and got Bob Proctor came and shared about angels. Never done that before, right? Saw Christy Whitman came, shared about angels, right? It was amazing, and so I still got to do what I was not now able to do because I was grounded. So I'm still able to do the work, and then at first, when it comes to writing books, everybody was in like money fear and freaking out, and so the business stopped, like, "Urgh!" And so I could have tailspinned out about that, or I could have said, "Oh, what a perfect time to go within and get things straight," right? And
Right.
then, and then it seems like as soon as everybody got their stimulus checks, or some people started to go to work or whatever, then it was like, whoa, we just this onslaught of so many people introducing us to people, and everything shifted right back, because right now is the perfect time to write a book.
Yeah, right.
People
Many
have
of us are
more,
feeling that inspired
yeah,
for that right now. I know.
and we
I
have more
know.
time than ever to write.
Right, and or not. However,
Yeah.
because there are some right now, and I will say I don't know that I've ever been busier.
Hmm.
However, but because there are so many people that do, if your calling is to help those other people,
Right.
then this is a time where many of us are being called to show up, and
Yeah.
in showing up, then encouraging others to do the same, and then that domino effect goes out, and we talk about that a lot,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are feeling it. A lot of people are feeling the love. And so each one of you who are here are blessed to stay and always. So receive it and will come. Believe and know that you're what is coming for you and the blessing in every way. Amen. And Helene is one that she does every day. She writes encouragement, and she is inspired, and she writes in her pure, innocent self what it is that she is feeling and how she is feeling it from the heart. And so, thank you for that, Helene. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. So, if someone wants to work with you, how do they start that initial discussion? Because I know you don't take everybody. You're very, it has to make sure that it's the right one. And then if you're not the right one, do you know enough of the people out there that you can say, for what you need, I think this one might be these might be some good choices.
Yeah. Well, we have a huge team. Like, we're a legit publishing company. So I don't do everything. Thank goodness, in our
Right.
business. So if you're on Facebook, I'm on Facebook. You can reach out there and say, hey, how can I connect? And I'll send you the link to schedule a call with me. If you're on the website, you hit contact, and you fill in that form. Then that goes to a team member, who then can set an appointment or send it to me if they feel that it's a that it, I would want to do that. So I'm not hard to find. You can find me, but now is just the most incredible time. There's just, I'm like you. I am busier than ever and loving it because
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
the quality of the people that are coming
Oh
and
yeah.
what they're bringing right
Yeah.
now is amazing. And
Yeah.
when those books start coming out, it's just going to
Oh,
change the world. And
how exciting.
Kim, who nominated me, is going to be in uh, an upcoming book project that I'm working on. And so if you're on Kim's page or on my page, we're going to start talking about that a little bit more. We've been
Oh, okay, cool.
not
Kim's
talking
coming
about it.
on Friday, so maybe we can tag team and we can talk about that a little bit more. She'll be back on the
Cool.
show on Friday here. And
Great.
what about you had the Angel Summit? Are there any other summits or any other online events that you are going to be a part of here soon?
Uh, I don't have anything booked right now, but do you want to experience my work? If you can go to beyondbeliefbooks.com, beyondbeliefbooks.com, and there is just angel support. So I created angel cards where I downloaded 44 messages, 11 archangels, 4 messages each, and said, what do you want me to tell people, and then had the most incredible artwork done. I've got a home study course there that will introduce you to all the tips and tools. I just shared a few earlier of how to connect, right, and how to get answers in real time. Uh, Music, you said I'm a musician. I have a CD there that's an angel CD that goes with the book, companion with the book. I've got everything you would need to find your angels, connect with them, and be supported is on that site. And then Leon Smith Publishing, leonsmithpublishing.com is where you can go to look and see what books we've done and see what we offer there and make contact. So, and
Okay.
then the book, you just go to amazon.com, right? Walking
Oh,
with
I have a feeling
My
some have
Angels.
already done that
Yeah.
already. I mean, I've got some real proactive ones that come here, and
Right.
they're like, okay, done that already, Keith.
Yeah, well, I made that available in every way humanly possible. So I actually read this whole thick book, recorded it, and created an audio book as
I
well.
love it. I
It's
love
like
it.
Kindle, soft cover, audiobook, however you need it, you have it. And because so many people said, is it going to be an audiobook? Is it going to be a Kindle? Is it going to? So I said, yes, that's the answer. Yes.
I love it. I love it. Well, you coming on today has definitely been in so many ways a gift to all of us. And you have been serving us in so many different the timing was absolutely without question exactly as it was meant to be, because we needed to hear your stories and be inspired by you, because you truly are a service hero. And I agree 100%, Kim O'Neill, that we today needed to hear from Keith Leon S. Period. Okay, so yes, and love the angel cards. I have a deck and use them often. Very cool. Well,
Thank
what
you,
we'll
Kim.
do is make sure to get all of the websites into the comments here in the show. And then also, if you guys have any questions, reach out, because I'll tell you that I do know some of the people that are some of the authors that were in those books, and amazing information and souls, all amazing information and souls, all. So thank you for being here today, Keith.
You're
And
welcome.
as we close, and I want to also, before I close, I want to also say thank you for reading from the book. Thank you. That was beautiful. It was
You're
a
welcome.
beautiful moment, and I treasure it. It really was beautiful. So, as we close today, July the 28th, 2020, the Service Hero Show, 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. Keith Leon S. Yes, we have determined you are a service hero. You do so much for so many. You have lived your life in such a way. You came here and you have been inspired and guided and then schooled and educated, and then you are taking that out for all of us to have that same experience, because you are letting us all know we can We can. We are entitled to that too. And the fact that you have been so open and been out there and shared about life and about the possibilities that it could maybe not continue, and it did, and why it did, and how it did. That is inspiring for so many. And you did it with sense of humor and a smile, and that in itself is also a gift. So thank you for being the service hero that you are.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You
All
you
right.
make a difference. You make a difference.
Thank you. Yes, everybody does, and you
Yes.
do too. Thank you so very much for being here. Thank you very much for putting the information in, Kim. I appreciate it so very much. And for the buddies, tonight is Travel Tuesday. You know what that means. It is in the closed group at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. We are going to have Barbara Beckley join myself and Skip Thomas, and we may even have another guest with us, a guest host of the chat. And if you have not joined our community and would like to, we have a safe place for those that are feeling isolated and alone, that are affected by cancer, and now those that are affected by COVID and the pandemic. And we have a safe place that where what takes place there stays there. That's one of the rules. And the second rule is that we do monitor it and keep it safe for everyone. So join us on Chemo Buddies for Life page. Go to groups, ask to join the community, and then show up. You'll enjoy it. We share humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a lot of love. All right. Thank you so much, Keith, for being
You're
here.
welcome.
It was
You're welcome.
great.
Thanks for
All
having
right.
me. Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.